opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network. Hello, everybody, and welcome inside a wonderful Thursday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by our good friends, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Right-hand corner of the screen right there, where you can always find them. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. We're going to continue to do that with an awesome Thursday episode. We got a lot planned for you today. We're going to, of course, recap last night and all the action that went down on the basketball court. We're going to preview tonight. That is a mainstay here on Running Point. We have I think this is one of the last season previews we have yet to play. We've been trying to get all of them up on Running Point. Brian Beanie, the head coach of the Austintown Fitch boys basketball team, he'll be featured today, and then we can start to get to some of the player profiles that we've been getting so far this season. Next week, well, we'll only be Monday and Tuesday. Well, actually, Monday next week. It's going to be crazy. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're going to be off next week. We'll all be off Friday. So, I might just take the whole week off. Why not? Is there a point to do one show on Monday? We'll make that a game time decision. We might not be back until the next Monday, which is what, the 30th. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. That was me in my mind trying to decide if there was going to be a show or not. Welcome to Running Point. This is what you come here for, right? The way my mind works. I think that's a good point to get right to the scoreboard and get us back on track, talking about local sports and these wonderful athletes that we have in the YSN family and the action that went down last night across the YSN family. Can be found on the YSN scoreboard. This is a great tool for our fans, whether you're at one of the games or watching one of our broadcasts. Either way, you don't want to look away from the action for too long. And the YSN scoreboard is a great and easy way to get live updated scores from your favorite teams across the YSN family. Whether it be your heated rivals or your best friends, there's no better place to find out what's going on than the YSN scoreboard. The YSN scoreboard is proudly presented by Burnett Pools, Spas, and Hot Tubs, and we thank them for letting us bring it to you. It can be found at ysnlive.com/scores. So here we go. Last night, boys basketball is how we'll start. And we had Orange taking on Chagrin Falls, and the Lions get their first CVC win of the year. It's another battle. Orange has played a lot of very close games so far this year. Some of them have gone their way, some of them haven't, but the last two in a row have definitely gone their way. They beat Chagrin Falls 63-55, the final score. A big win for the Lions. You can find a full recap and an interview with Coach Marvin Rashad from the Lions on our website and on our YouTube page. We want to thank Noah Ricks for doing a great job with that. We went to Jefferson last night, and Jefferson got the win over Lakeside, 60-48, your final score. Perry goes to Hawken. The Pirates fall to Hawken, 62-43, the final score there. As we scroll over, we see that Conneaut went to Madison and fell 69-34. Final score. Geneva comes to Edgewood, and they pull off the win 68-62 over the Warriors. Beaver on the road in the boys' realm, they go into Riverside and they blow out Riverside 72-42. Your final score there. Also across the PA border, Mohawk on the road, they went to Union area and they also got the win 68-36 final there. And then in MVAC gray tier action, Garfield went to Liberty and Garfield pulls off the 71-58 win over the Leopards. In girls basketball, some non-conference action going on. How about East? They are all over Alliance. They were up 28-1 at halftime. No problems for the Bears. 48-13, the final score. Bears over Alliance. Bears had two players in double figures. You can find a recap, stats, and info on that game on our website. Lakeside goes to Pymatuning Valley, and the Lakers get the win 55-27 over the Dragons. We go to Camel and Sebring. Camel girls fall to Sebring 39-25. Final score there. Fitch hands West Branch their first loss of the year, and it was a great start for the Falcons that drove this one. West Branch came back, starting to make it close, but then Fitch has had all the momentum in this game from the jump. 51-33, the final score. Tough night for the Warriors. They were undefeated coming in, but they fall in their first game of the year, and the Falcons are the ones that give it to them. You can find a recap of this game with all the stats and info, as well as interviews with Coach Dan Huracek and Rachel Spalding and Sam Severin as well. Ty Bartell giving us those. Louisville goes to Massillon, Washington, and the Tigers of Massillon, they're still undefeated on the year, and they're proven why. 69-44, the final score. They beat the Leopards. Salem goes to Boardman and escapes with a 43-41 thriller of that one. And once again, a recap of this game with stats and info, as well as interviews from head coach Matt Mowry and Carly Sampson can be found on ysnlive.com as well as our YouTube page. So kind of a limited sample size from last night. There weren't a lot of teams in action on this particular Wednesday. But still, I think some really good games. I mean, the Salem Boardman game, probably the game of the night, especially on the network. Fitch puts together a really good performance and gets the big win there. And then you see the boys' side, probably Orange and Inchagrin Falls, the highlight game on that end of the that end of the schedule. And boy, Massillon, Washington, they look good. We've seen them on the network a couple of times. They're going to be on the network when we go into South Range, the Holiday Hoops tournament, because they're going to be there. So we'll get to see. I'll get to see them live. I can't wait for that. Ty, who will be with me on the South Range tournament, he already gets to see them live. Got to see them live when they came to Chania. I mean, there's something. They've put together a strong team, and like I said yesterday when I was recapping that Cheney game. Or 2 days ago. This was a team that we saw live. They always pop up on YSN schedule, usually against maybe your Fitches or your Boardman. So we've seen them before in this program, and they have not been this dominant yet. Since we've been seeing them, they haven't been a team that has been this caliber. So they either brought in some people, they have some freshmen. I don't know. We'll have to see when they come into South Range. But this Massillon Washington team means business this year. Still undefeated, and they're beating really good teams by a lot. I would love to see Massillon Washington Hope, but I don't know if those schedules line up. That would be a fun one, but we're going to see Massillon Washington and Crestview play each other. That'll also be a very fun one, the way those two teams are playing right now. When they come to South Range, that'll be one of the marquee games of that South Range Holiday Hoops tournament next weekend. One of the things that we also want to talk about today is, since we won't be here for maybe a week. Maybe I might pop in on Monday. But we want to talk about Andy Hake getting the job at Middle Ridge, and we had a wonderful opportunity to put up what I think is an awesome piece of content. That to be honest, I think we should be able to get more of. We did this during the COVID year, where we had players and coaches kind of write their thoughts down and almost journal about what they were going through. We had this really cool, I don't know if you want to call it a segment or if you want to call it a um, it was a thing that we did for a couple of weeks where student athletes would write their own story, and it was called in their own words, and it was a really great read for these kids to be able to tell their side of things in the COVID year. And we were able to do that with Andy Hake writing his own story about returning to Middle Ridge to coach the Rams. And it was a great read. I mean, he is so transparent about his past and the things that got him to where he is now. And he's transparent about how much he looked forward to this job. He's a great friend of YSN. That's if you're not aware of that, then my word, you've been living under a YSN rock. You haven't been paying attention at all. But I think Middle Ridge may be the only school that would have been able to pull him away from the great things he was doing at Valley Christian, because we know he loved what he was doing, the impact he was making at that school. But Middle Ridge is home. He's a Middle Ridge guy. And when they came knocking at the door, that it was going to be really hard for him to say no to that opportunity. Middle Ridge had a great run under Coach Shaner, and we want to give him a shout out because he was always willing to do interviews and season previews and talk about his program. And I think there was a lot of really good things that he did for that program, and he definitely did not leave the cupboard bare for Coach Hake when he comes in. But we're really excited for this kind of transition for Coach Hake, and what he's been able to do at Valley Christian, I think, proves what he can do at Middle Ridge. And that's a team that is kind of like teetering right now. It's trying to be competitive. It's not quite consistent enough this year to be that team in the top tier of the conference, but they definitely showed at times they can push a lot of good teams and really be competitive. So Andy Hake's the kind of guy that can just take that and just put it to the next level with the standard that he's going to set for the program and for the players. And then I think what the biggest get for Middle Ridge is really the unending support and passion and love that he's going to bring to the kids at Middle Ridge. Because I think if you talk to anyone that was coached by him at Valley Christian, yes, they'll talk about what he taught them about football and how much he elevated their game. And that's obviously important. You want to go out there, you want to win every game you can, and you want to be able to put your best foot forward as an athlete, and the coaches help you to do that. Of course, that's going to be something they say. And I'm not downplaying that by saying that's not the most important thing. But I think the most important thing really is just they'll talk about the impact that he had on their lives, football or not. And I think that's going to be something that these Middle Ridge kids are going to be able to say, like, when we were coached by Coach Hake, he had an impact on the way we live, the way we do things, how we are able to go out there and be members of society because of the lessons that he taught us. And I think there are not too many people that can kind of take a kid and say, hey, we make mistakes. Like, these kids are going to make mistakes, right? They're teenagers, right? They're not going to do everything the right way. And he's going to say, hey, you know what? We make mistakes. And I think he's very clear about it in the article. Like, hey, we make mistakes. We're gonna move on from it. We're gonna learn from it. We're gonna get better by it. And I think having a coach that can tell a kid that and really kind of mean it because they've been through it themselves is astronomical to that kid's development as not just a football player, not just an athlete, but also as a person and as a well-ordered member of society, which is, I think, the whole point of high school athletics. You want, once again, you want to go out there, you want to compete, you want to win. We're all talking about sports. We're all here because we love sports. We love rooting for our teams. We want our teams and our teams that we root for to win. But in high school, one of the coach's jobs that goes way past winning is setting these kids up to go out there and take the next chapter of their life on, whether it be college, trade school, whether getting a job right out of high school, whatever it may be. They're going to be set to do it because of the lessons that they're taught by their coaches. And I think there aren't too many people out there, too many coaches that can teach that lesson and get those kids better prepared for the next chapter of their life than Andy Hake. So I'm proud that Middle Ridge made this hire. I'm happy for Andy Hake, and I'm happy for Middle Ridge, and I know DJ definitely is. I'm surprised we haven't seen like a power hour with Andy Hake yet. I'm sure it's in the can. I'm sure it's coming. Him talking about Middle Ridge, it is. Him and DJ are like that. They're buddies, so I'm sure DJ is over the moon that Andy Hake is getting this position. But I also wanted to take the time and congratulate him. And I haven't been able to do a game with him yet because I don't cover football live. But if he ever wanted to come do basketball, let's go. I want the opportunity. We'd have some fun. He's always entertaining. I'll give you that. If you haven't listened to an Andy Hake broadcast, entertaining is all get out. So make sure if you see him around or if you notice him, if you haven't read the article, go give it a read. It's on ysnlive.com. Hake's Homecoming. It's a great read. And I really, really hope that we get the chance to do more of these style of articles where we let coaches and players kind of put in their own words what they're experiencing and kind of their own journey in their own words, because the interviews are great, which I love doing interviews, as you probably know from watching my show and seeing all the interviews that I'm able to do. But the one step further from doing an interview is just saying, here's a blank piece of paper or here's a blank, word tablet. Just write your story. Tell us about what you've gone through, how you've learned from it. That's really cool. And I think I hope we're able to do that a little bit more, because I think it's a really cool opportunity to get people's story out there in an even more visceral and real way than just the interviews are able to do. The interviews are a great step, right? They're a great way to get limelight. But at the end of the day, like when we're interviewing people, it's not as raw. That's just reality. But when you just give them, there's not a camera in front of them. It's just here's a blank Word document. Just type it up. Type out what you're feeling. Type out what you're going through. Type out what your journey is, and that can be a little bit more raw. And that's why I liked reading those ones that we did during the COVID years, where these kids were frustrated. And then right there was frustration. There were a lot of kids that felt like they had a chance to do really special things their senior year in 2020. That they were stripped of being able to do out of something that was completely out of their control. There was a lot of frustration. They got to kind of get that out a little bit in their own words, articles that they were able to write. So I hope that we get the chance to do more. It's going to be fun. We're going to take a commercial break here on Running Point, and when we come back, as I said, we will have another Coach's Corner season preview talking about this time around the boys basketball program at Austintown Fitch. Brian Beanie will be featured on today's show. Ty Bartell did the interview with him. That will be coming up next on Running Point. After we say hi to some of our sponsors, we pay some bills, we keep the lights on, and then we'll also preview the night that is going to be on YSN. So come back for us. We'll be right back on the other end of this commercial break.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
From on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com. Just got the message on StreamYard. We are not streaming on Twitter/X right now. They might be having some kind of issue on their end with putting up live streams. But if you're usually someone that watches on Twitter, we apologize that we're not on there. But you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and you can still go to the website to watch this show. On the shows tab, it streams live on the website as well. So make sure you're able to do that. And we love having you here. The comment section always available too. So if you want my thoughts on something, make sure to have a comment and I'll answer it. But right now we're going to our season preview. Coach's Corner. We have another one to feature on the show. Brian Beanie, the head coach of the Austintown Fitch boys team. Ty Bartell had a chance to catch up with him, so we're going to play that for you, and we hope that you enjoy it. And here you go.
Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartell with another edition of Coach's Corner. This time we head over to Austintown with my man Brian Beanie from the Austintown Fitch Falcons boys basketball team joining me today. Coach Beanie, how are we doing?
Good, Ty. How are you?
Not doing too bad, man. It's practice season. It's scrimmage season. I know you were talking to me. You're trying to get things in order, trying to see what you guys got this year. I know you got some returning talent, but there's probably some spots for some guys to step up as well. What are you seeing, though, from scrimmages? What are you seeing from practice season right now out of the Falcons?
Well, it's still kind of chaotic for us because yesterday was the first day we got the guys that play football back. And some of those guys didn't participate. It'll take them a little bit to get their bodies adjusted. A couple bumps and bruises in the football season. So kind of slow playing a few of those guys. But we've had a couple scrimmages. We've only had about 7 or 8 guys with us at the varsity level for those scrimmages. So it's been, I said it before, the state of Ohio does a huge injustice to basketball with the start date. There's no way in the world we should be starting as early as we are. That start date was okay years back when only 8 teams qualified for the playoffs. Now that everybody basically does, it just makes no sense as why we are starting this early. It puts everybody in a bind. And, if your football team makes a nice little run, that really puts you in the bind. So for us, I've had to adjust some things, some things we had scheduled, pitcher-wise, all those types of things. So this is basically the first week, and it probably won't be till, Thursday until everyone's probably full go. So it's been a little bit of, helter-skelter up to this point. So what we've seen in our scrimmages so far with the guys that we've had, they've done a nice job, but it's hard to go full go as far as playing 6 or 7 quarters when you only have 7 or 8 guys. It makes it difficult. So, we have a scrimmage tomorrow. Maybe some of the football guys maybe get their feet wet a little bit into that. But, we'll play that as it goes. So to answer your question,
talk about
what's that? Go ahead.
I said, just talk about navigating the challenges, though, how you're able to, the challenges that are presented with you. How are you able to adjust to the rough winds, to the rough waters?
Tough. I mean, it's not, there's so many moving parts and stuff like that. In hindsight, probably shouldn't start our season like our first game as early as we are. but the problem with pushing back games is then to make up the difference, you got to play some Friday and Saturdays back to back, and that's tough to do as well. So there's really not a good answer as far as the scheduling part of it. You just got to make do with what you got. A lot of people are in the same boat. Those coaches that have teams playing this weekend are in a real bind because, that's another week they don't have the guys that they're probably, looking to count on. So it's just not, again, hopefully the state change. Rumor is the state's going to push it back next year, which would make all the sense in the world. But, you got to make do with what you got, and you just got to adapt and adjust and, go from there.
We'll definitely be talking more on some changes that happen in the basketball world as this interview goes along. But I actually want to meet the team too. Some guys you expect to make big impact for the Falcons this year. I was at one of their signing days, so I have a feeling of one I know you're going to be talking about. But just talk about some of the players on this team that we can expect to see on the floor for some decent minutes this year.
Yeah, sure. The player you're talking about is Marcel Finkley, 4-year varsity guy, 2-year all-conference winner. He's was our leading scorer last year. So he's one that we're counting on heavily. I don't see no reason why any of those numbers should dip. He's worked hard in the offseason. Carter Owens is back. He's a 2-time, second team all-conference player, 3-year varsity guy as well. So we're looking for big numbers from him. Then we got some returning lettermen. Brady Evans is back. He's a returning letterman from last year. Saw some significant time playing varsity. Some seniors that we expect to kind of step in the mix here a little bit is Justin Glover. He'll run the point for us. Rocco Ferrari, he's an off guard. Anthony Waller's a junior. He plays inside. Real strong kid. He's done a nice job. Junie Higgs, you remember that name from football. We expect some quality varsity minutes from him. And then we got some sophomores that it's early now, but you never know, but they have some potential, down the road. And then we got a couple other seniors too, as well as Jaden Ackerman and Trevor Fidrum. So we have 6 seniors this year. I think I named all 6, and Jaden Wright. So, it's early, still trying to formulate kind of what you're looking for. And you really don't do that until everybody's here. Now everybody's here. So it will take a little bit of time to figure it out. But for us, time isn't on our side as we have a game and, whatever that is, a week from this Friday. So
countdown already. Countdown to game day.
First couple games will be trial and error here and, try to figure some things out.
As you try to put the big 10,000 piece puzzle together, figuratively, for another season. Talk about just the conference outlook this year. I mean, just from my looks on it too, it looks to be another year where it could be anybody's for the taking. It looks to be competitive across the board. All the games are always competitive and close too. Do you see anything changing? Do you see much of the same from it? How do you see the Falcons fitting into the conference this year?
Oh, I think in the conference, night in or night out, anybody can beat anybody on even given night. I mean, you could be like so-called loaded on paper, but you're still dealing with high school kids. Like you just don't know what you're going to get night in and night out. You hope you know what you're going to get, but they're still, they're still teenagers. Mm-hmm. So any given night, anybody can get anybody. I think every conference team this year has, a core of players, no matter what number that is, that are their go-to players as well. And we're familiar with those guys because we've seen them for the last couple of years. So there's no real surprises as far as what the conference teams are going to bring to the table. It's just a matter of going out there and doing enough to win the game. So it should be another exciting conference year.
You guys always schedule up in the non-conference schedule because the conference only puts 8 games on the schedule. It gives you that flexibility to schedule a lot in the non-conference. And I know you like to challenge this Falcons team year in and year out. What are some games you're excited for this year in particular to challenge them with non-conference wise?
Yeah, I mean, again, we challenge them. That's just my philosophy. I mean, I think the kids get more out of playing against, a team that might be a step up, but you get to see what you got to do to perform and compete. I've said it for years to you. You can schedule teams that you're pretty comfortable you're going to beat, and you can win a crap ton of games. But what does that really do for you come tournament time? In my opinion, I don't think it really helps you much. So we like to schedule up. So this year, we got Madison, Washington back on the schedule. We didn't play them last year. It was just a scheduling conflict. So we got them back on the schedule. We played Green from the Federal League this year. We haven't played them in some time, but we got them on the schedule. We got Lake. We played them the last couple years. So we've got, some Federal League teams. Now, I'm not going too deep into the Federal League. I'm not like that. I don't want to, you don't want to go overboard. But so we got some of those. We still have we still play Lindsley Academy on the road. That was a home and away series. So we got to go to West Virginia for that. That'll be a tough one. And some other out of conference. I'm just going to kind of look away from the screen for a second. So we have like Canton Central Catholic again. They're coming in. We got another Fed school. We got Masson Perry.
You're a little bit into the Federal League. You got about half this. You got a good handful of the schools.
We got Mayfield. We got Ursuline. So it's a tough schedule again, but that's just kind of my philosophy. So.
You talk about come tournament time, you want these guys to be prepared. Well, this year, this is what I was kind of hinting at earlier in the interview. The divisions expand this year now. We go from 4 to 7 now in the sport of basketball. You guys now go down to Division 2, if I'm not mistaken. How does that what's your outlook on that? How do you foresee the challenges? What are the challenges of Division 2? I think the roads get a little bit shorter now, but it feels like across the board challenges still stay the same, but you guys won't have to, I guess, compete with those monster Division 1 schools as much now.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would say it's about time. I don't know what took the state so long to do this. We all know the state's about making money. But this should have been done when they did football. They should have done basketball. And again, I don't know why they didn't do it, but it definitely gives the kids an opportunity. Look at our volleyball team. They win district this year. They've had some good teams in the past, but the road was just kind of easier a little bit, for them. But it just gives an opportunity. You're not going against teams that, even if you, win a round or two, then you can never catch your breath when you were in Division 1. It was just unbelievably hard. Now we're in Division 2. So now you're going against schools basically our size. The pathway, it's not so much easier, but there are more pathways now. In Division 1 and 2, they took the top 64 size schools in Division 1 and the next biggest 64 in Division 2. And that's where we fell, kind of in the middle of Division 2. And, I think we'll have 8 districts in our area. So, like in anything, the computer will seed you based on all the formulas that the computer uses, but you still will be able to put yourself on the board somewhere. You still got to get a lucky draw. It still comes down to a little bit of luck too. But and then divisions 3 through 7, theirs a little bit different than Division 2. They have more teams in those divisions. So I think it's a great thing. I'm sure every coach would have wished that we had 7 divisions for some years, because every coach had some teams that they wish, man, if we were only in this division, what could we have done? That would be me. But luckily they made the move. And it is what's the best interest of the kids. So like I said, you look at Division 2, I went through all the divisions. There's some really difficult divisions still for like the smaller divisions. There's some teams in there that are like juggernauts still. So even though it gives you an opportunity, every division still has teams that you got to play really well to beat. But at least it gives you an opportunity, to do something. So we're excited about it, and I'm sure coaches are excited about it. And it's good for the kids.
when we talk about your team in particular, for you guys to go on that type of run, for you guys to find success, you're going to play to your strengths this season, as every coach is going to say. What are the strengths of this team that you foresee this year? What is kind of the team identity you foresee the Falcons having this year?
Athleticism. I mean, this will be the first time in a long time that we think we can consistently go out there and pressure people. It's a lot easier said than done. You got to have that mindset. You got to be in condition. The kids got to want to do it. We think we have enough depth to be able to do that. And we want to push it. We want to play in the 70s if we can. Some nights we'll be able to, and some nights maybe we're just not shooting it well enough, or the team's handling our press. But we want to get out there and we want to get people. We don't want to slow it down. We don't want teams to slow it down on us. So that's going to be our identity, and the bottom line in basketball is you got to be able to put the ball in the basket. So we want to give ourselves as many opportunities as we can. Again, some nights we'll probably shoot it really well, and some nights we might not. So hopefully if we're not shooting it well, our defense is still giving us more opportunities. But we definitely want to get out and play fast. I've said that for years with us, but we've never really done it. We've done it in spurts. This year we're hoping to do it, for 4 quarters. And how that goes, I can't tell you right now. Ask me at the end of each game and I'll tell you how it went. But, we're building towards that mindset to do that. All kids like to play fast. That's just the style of basketball now. Nobody wants to bring it down and make 25 passes before a shot. They want to play. That hopefully then will, from my standpoint or other coaches, hopefully the shot clock comes into play. They're experimenting with it. They are experimenting with it this year in a couple of tournaments, the shot clock.
So I have seen that, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that comes to Ohio, or we voted in next year, because I think that will really just enhance the play. I mean, that will make it exciting. And, I'm hoping that is another big change coming as well. So, but we'll see with that.
As the game continues to evolve at the high school level, we're obviously excited for this season as well, for the opportunities, like you said, that are presented inside of playing in Division II come tournament time. But when we talk about growth and we talk about like your goals for this season, say from now to game 1 in a short-term goal mindset, and from now until tournament draw, game 22, or for a long-term goal mindset, what are some goals you have short-term and long-term for this team right now?
Well, each coach, every practice, you always tell your kids, you want to get better. Like, you don't want to regress. You don't want to stay the same. You always want to improve. And those can be little things as, number one, grasping the offense better, performing the drills in practice better, conditioning, pushing yourself harder in practice. We always tell the kids, all your drills and all your shooting should be game-like speed. Well, that's a mentality too. And each day as a coach, when you reevaluate your practice at the end of each practice, you want to see improvement in certain areas. Of course, you're not going to have a great practice every single time, but maybe certain areas are better than others. But you hope the kids come in every day and they show improvement as well. If you have to keep going back and repeating yourself, then things aren't progressing the way you want. If you got to keep getting on kids about certain things, they're not progressing the way you want or the way they should be. So we don't have like specific goals for each, like number goals for each practice. Ours is more of a general analysis of like, these are the things we want to do going into practice. Did we achieve them? And if we achieve them, that means we're all on the same wavelength and we're moving forward. If we're not achieving certain things, and like I said, we got to keep repeating ourselves, then we have to adjust and the players have to adjust. But in this short time frame, it's kind of like little steps right now. It's getting everyone's feet wet, acclimated again with the football kids that we got, not putting in too much yet. But as the season goes on and the days and the weeks go on, then we start to add to some things, and stuff like that. And a lot of it's depending on who you play and how you're going to adjust and stuff like that. But for us, it's right now in the chaotic time, it's taking it one step at a time, doing the little things right, not trying to overwhelm them with too much stuff too early, because again, we're just getting everybody back. So just sticking with the basics and stuff like that. But I tell the kids from day one, anybody can play hard. Anybody can play hard. You don't got to be super skilled to play hard. You don't got to be super skilled to talk. Those are general things that every kid should be able to do. And, we're stressing that to them right now. So it's a process, as it will be, I'm sure, with every coach that you talk to right now on, November 19th. So like I said, as long as we are progressing, we'll be happy. So that's kind of our mindset now.
And when we talk about counting down the days until opening day, I know you can't do it on your own too. You can't run the practices. You can't keep everyone in order. You can't make sure the Falcon program runs on your own. So who are the assistants? Who are some other big names in the program this year that you want to shout out and give some love to?
So assistant-wise, I'll start at the freshman level. We have John Hudson. John and I have been together for a long time. He does a great job with our freshman program, getting those kids acclimated. That's not an easy job when you got two teams from the middle school coming together to make one. It's a very difficult job. My JV coach again is Orville Simons. Orville's been with me now for some years. His son Todd, that name sounds familiar. He played here. He's our all-time leading scorer. And then we have Booker Newberry. Will be up with me as our assistant. His son was on the football team, and Booker's been down at the middle school level. A really good player back in high school. He played for Youngstown South. People listening to this don't have no clue what Youngstown South was. So that's kind of dating myself here a little bit. And then we have one of my other assistants is AJ Green. Ty, you'll remember that name. AJ Green played here about 6 years ago. He was the one, unfortunately, that got hurt our first game of the year with his ACL. Really good kid. He'll work with our post players and stuff like that. So we're happy to have him aboard. And then, our middle school guys down there, they do a really nice job with our middle school team down there. So that's kind of the coaches in a nutshell. They're a good group of guys. That's what's most important. They're better people than they are coaches, and that's a compliment. They're really good with the kids, and obviously you want good quality people around you as well. So that's that.
No doubt, Coach. Couple more questions for you before we let you go. One of them is a theme question I've been asking a lot of coaches this year too, and it goes to the lessons the game teaches us. I know you're a teacher there in the school. You've taught also the sport of basketball to countless young men throughout the years as well, helping them relate that to real life scenarios. But I want to know what the biggest lesson the sport of basketball has taught you.
Well, like I always tell the kids, number one, I said, things aren't going to go your way at times. You might not get a call. You might think you got fouled and it doesn't happen. You might not shoot the ball well. You might just have a bad game. Okay, it's tough. Well, life is tough and life isn't fair. So how are you going to react to those tough situations? Are you just going to throw your hands up and say, I'm done? Or are you going to adjust and learn from it and get better? Same thing in life. When you're a father, when you're a husband, things aren't going to go smooth. Are you going to learn from it, stick it out, work on it, or are you just going to say, I'm out? So I try to teach them that, listen, at this level too, you can learn from mistakes. At this level too, things aren't going to go your way. But how do you adjust? How do you react? How do you respond? And do you learn and grow from it? If you keep making the same mistakes over and over again, you keep blaming other people, it's probably time to look in the mirror and say, what can I do different? Maybe it's on me. So I keep trying to pound that in their heads. And they're teenagers. Sometimes it goes one ear and out the other. And a lot of times the kids don't really understand what you are trying to say until they graduate and then they come back. And then they understood what you were trying to say. And because sometimes kids don't, sometimes they listen to the tone of some things instead of the message. And, it's harder now with kids nowadays than it was some years ago. There's a lot more going on in their lives. So you have to learn to kind of get to know your kids a little bit better, maybe than you would in the past, and learn what they're going through at times too. But you still want to hold them to a certain standard, and you still want them to do the best they can. For me, each year's different. It's you don't have the same team. Kids graduate, kids move up. Sometimes kids move in. It's just you as a coach have to also learn and adapt to what you have. And it's the same thing in life. Not every day is the same in life. Some days are good, some days are bad. Sometimes, unfortunately, something happens, and sometimes you have to learn how to deal with that. So sports, the important thing and the great thing about sports is no matter what sport, you can always learn something. They always teach us life lessons, and you can always learn and grow. And if you're not growing from it, you're basically just regressing. So you always want to learn from mistakes that are made and stuff like that. So it's, like I said, it's one great thing about coaching sports and watching sports. So many good things happen. Sometimes everybody wants to deal on the negatives in life or stuff like that. And it's not the way it should go. But yeah, every year is different, but it's always fun. Like I told you, when it stops being fun, then I won't be sitting in this chair. You'll be interviewing somebody else.
Yeah. Well, we love that. We love that you're still enjoying it, Coach, too. And I know you do a great job connecting with those kids as well. And because they come back and because they want to be involved and because they want to help out in various ways, too, I think is a testament to that. Final question for you, and it might be the last year that tip-offs are happening around Thanksgiving time, but high school basketball always tips off right around Thanksgiving time in the state of Ohio. So it always reminds me of Thanksgiving. They kind of go hand in hand for me. So I want you to shout out your first game, shout out the Austintown community, let them know why they need to support this team this year, but also shout out your favorite Thanksgiving Day dish.
Oh, well, we'll go in reverse. Favorite Thanksgiving Day dish is probably, like a lot of people, turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, some corner peas with some salad. Dessert, obviously some pumpkin pie or apple pie. That's my favorite. It's probably traditional for a lot of people. First game is November. I'm looking at my calendar here. Make sure November 29th. We are at Struthers, which in my opinion is the best place to play.
It's a great field.
The field house. We used to, back in the day, that's where they used to hold Division I tournament back when we had 8 or 9 Division I schools in this area. We always used to, you walk in that gym, you smell the popcorn going. No doubt that's the best gymnasium to play in. So we're looking forward to going over there. And then the Austintown community, come out and support the kids. It's a great group of kids. They do well in the classroom. They represent themselves well. Of course, not everybody's perfect, but it is a good group of kids to be around. And I've been fortunate over the years. I've always, for the most part, had a really good group of kids. And the community should come out and support those kids. Austintown should support all of our sports. It doesn't matter what sport it is. The kids put the time in, they put the effort in. They want people to come out and support them. So, we're appreciative of that, of the people that do come out and watch us. We just encourage you to continue to come out and continue to watch, and we'll do everything we can to put a good product on the floor, win, lose, or draw. From us, you're going to get our best effort night in and night out. And that's the only thing I can promise is that's what you'll see. Other than that, nobody can promise anything else because you don't know what each game, holds. So
I could testify from your team perspective, though, Coach, that this is a good group of kids, but they also are a group of kids that want to represent the community and want to represent them in a good fashion, too. So it's another great reason, Austintown, for you to get out there and support this group of Falcons. Coach, it was great talking with you once again, too. I'm excited for opening day. I'm excited to count down the days until we catch each other on the hardwood again, and I get to see how this Falcons team's performing and how, more importantly, they grow throughout the year.
I appreciate your time as always, Ty. Have a good Thanksgiving, man.
You as well, brother. This has been a first edition of Coach's Corner with Brian Beanie from Austintown Fitch.
That was Brian Beanie of Austintown Fitch previewing his season and talking to us about his program and what we have to look forward to the rest of the year. Now, Fitch coming off a tough loss to Ursuline last time out, but I think a lot of teams might be in that boat with Ursuline when it's all said and done, because that team has the ability to really break away from you in quite a hurry with their talent on that Irish roster. So I still think really big things in store for Fitch this year on the boys' side. Let's go into the scoreboard. And I'm still on Higgs' article because I was reading it while I was talking about it. So let's go back into the scores. Today is Thursday, December 19th, 2024. And we have some boys basketball tonight. Riverside going to Perry as Perry hosts the Beavers. Campbell goes to Lowville. We have LeBray at Brookfield. McDonald goes to Western Reserve. Newton Falls will be traveling to Crestview. Southeast going to Champion. And Waterloo going to Middle Ridge. On the girls' side, we have Heartland Christian hosting Jackson Milton. Latonia going to East Palestine. Hubbard will be at Struthers tonight in NE8 play. Niles going to Poland in NE8 play. South Range also in NE8 play going to Lakeview. We have Conneaut going to Madison. We have East hosting Akron East. So the Battle of the East. Badger going to Girard. So Girard, the only team that's not in conference play this night inside that Northeast 8. Columbiana will be on the road against Wellsville, but that game has been postponed. So that is not happening tonight. Grand Valley will be traveling to Chalker. Minerva goes to Beaver Local tonight. Mohawk on the road. I got to scroll because I'm not familiar with Pennsylvania logos yet. They'll be at Stowe Rocks. Stowe Rocks. That's cool. Southern Local will be going to United. Shout out to our ace photographer, Gary Leininger. He will be in United tonight. So pictures from this game will be available later on this evening on the Ysn Smug Mug, available for purchase. So, one, if you see Gary out there, if you're at the Southern United game, make sure to tell him hi and thank him for all his work. Our website would not look nearly as good without all the pictures that he's able to take. But also, make sure to catch the QR code on his back. He'll have a shirt on with the QR code that gets you right to our Smug Mug on his back. And make sure to purchase some pictures from that game later on tonight. Lisbon hosting Valley Christian tonight, and then Beaver goes on the road to Ambridge. And then on last but not least, East Liverpool on the road at Oak Glen. It's a good thing they're on the road because right now their school is dealing with some water issue. And I believe they've been off school they were definitely off yesterday. I don't know if they got back today or not, but it's a good thing they're on the road because I don't know if they'd be able to play at home. So East Liverpool girls on the road at Oak Glen. Let's go over the announcers and the broadcast that you'll be able to see on YSN tonight. We got, let's see, girls basketball. We'll have Eric Hughes at Lowville for their matchup with Campbell. This is boys basketball to start. Ty Bartel will be at Western Reserve for their matchup with McDonald. Tony Perazio will be in Crestview as they take on Newton Falls. Cooper Chavone will be at Middle Ridge when they're taking on Waterloo. The Perry School Crew has you covered for their matchup with Riverside. We'll also have Westminster and St. Vincent simulcast basketball. That'll be at 4 o'clock as well. Girls basketball, DJ Oakley going to be in East Palestine for their matchup with Latonia. When Steve Hodge is going to be at Hubbard and Struthers. We have Noah Doty. He'll be taking care of Jackson Milton and Heartland Christian. Dakota Kotzel will be traveling with Niles to Poland. I'll be in Lakeview for their matchup with South Range. That'll be a 6 o'clock start in Lakeview. Don Pearson will be at United for their matchup with Southern. And then the Westminster St. Vincent girls game at 2 o'clock will also be on ysnlive.com. We have boys wrestling. Larry Jennings will be in Edgewood as they take on Conneaut tonight. That'll be at 6 o'clock as well. So that is what will be on the network tonight. ysnlive.com/live. One wrestling match, a handful of boys and girls basketball games also will be live for you as well. Make sure to check them out. And we will be back here tomorrow to recap it all on Running Point and talk about what's going to be going down over the weekend as well. We have a big weekend in store for you on YSN. So don't go anywhere. We'll be back tomorrow. Make sure to get out there, support these athletes, go to the games. If you can't make it to a game in person, ysnlive.com has you covered. Check out the YSN Live/live games page to see if your game will be on the network tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you all tomorrow. Have a lovely evening, and